Hello, this is Coding Gicha for full-stack developers. Vim is a text editor for CLI. When working on a server, you need to work in a CLI, so you need a CLI text editor. Even if you are not working on a server, if you are working on a terminal, you should use a CLI text editor so that you can do all your work continuously in the terminal without having to go back and forth to other GUI text editors. Many Linux distributions run Vim as VI because VI is set as a symbolic link to Vim. Strictly speaking, VI and Vim are different, but for common sense I will use the same expression as VI here. The default text editor for Ubuntu in a CLI is Nano. Nano is a convenient text editor that even people who are not familiar with the CLI can quickly learn, but it is a bit lacking as a full-fledged editor. Once you master Vim, it is more convenient and powerful than any other text editor. However, many people give up before even trying it because of the preconception that it is a difficult process that requires learning numerous commands and functions that come from their combinations, connections until beginners become familiar with it. Moreover, the Vim installed on Ubuntu is vim-tiny. It does not support color syntax and it is inconvenient in many ways, such as not being able to use arrow keys in insert mode and not being able to use user-defined commands, so it seems to be even more difficult. I will install a new Vim that I can use properly. I will install vim-tiny, which provides integration with the GUI. Vim is a CLI application, so it cannot use the system clipboard used in the GUI when copying and pasting. In the CLI, it uses X11's Xclip. The clipboards of each are not compatible. In other words, in order to use the system clipboard used in the GUI in Vim, you must use Vim that is partially implemented as a GUI library. NeoVim and vim-tiny provide integration with GUI. NeoVim is a CLI editor that is a modernized version of the traditional Vim. However, there is resistance to the creation of a unique NeoVim-specific plugin ecosystem through the Lua API, and since Lua 5.1, there are compatibility issues between old and new versions, and the Lua libraries have also stopped developing after Lua 5.1, which has fragmented the Lua community, making the future of NeoVim uncertain. The default text editor in the CLI is Nano, so let's set it to vim-tiny in Select Editor. I'll also set it to use vim-tiny in root account tasks using the sudo command. Let's simply edit a text file with Vim. Write the file name to work on after the vi command. If the file does not exist, it will be opened as empty. Vim starts in normal mode, and to exit that mode and go back to normal mode, press ESC. To help you understand, I've only used insert mode and command mode as examples, but there are various modes such as replace mode, visual mode, etc. To input text, type alphabet I, which is short for insert, to go to insert mode. To return back to normal mode, press ESC. If you press the left and right arrow keys, you can move one letter at a time, but if you press Ctrl, you can move one word at a time. To enter insert mode again, just type alphabet I. Start typing at the cursor position. If you type A, which is an abbreviation for append, the cursor will move forward one character and you can type. If you press uppercase A, the cursor will move to the end of the line and start insert mode. If you press uppercase I, the cursor will move to the beginning of the line and start insert mode. To start insert mode while adding a new line just below the cursor position, type O. If you type uppercase O, the insert mode will start while adding a new line just above the cursor position. To quit Vim, press ESC to switch to normal mode, then :Q. The state of holding down : is called command mode. If you haven't saved, it will notify you and won't quit. To quit without saving the document you're working on, press :Q and then exclamation mark. The file wasn't created because you opened a non-existent document and closed it without saving. This time, I will create a new document and save it. To save only, press ESC to go back to normal mode, then type :W for write. To save and quit, type :WQ. You can see that the document you are working on has been created. If you open an existing document, you can see the contents of the document. To save under a different name, type a different name after :W. A copy with a different name will be created, and you can continue working on the file you originally opened. If you saved, the previous file will be saved. If you want to open another file and work on it, just type :E followed by the file name you want to work on. If you want to save it with a different name and work on that file, type :save followed by a different name. When you save, you will see that the newly created file is saved. If you haven't worked on anything after saving, you can just press :Q to quit. We've covered the basic operations of opening a document, entering text, saving the document, and quitting. After doing a simple Vim configuration, we'll look at the operations in more detail. Vim configuration is in the .vimrc file. Let's set the line number to be visible. The line number is visible on the left, and I'll set the minimum width to 2 spaces. The tab is displayed as 8 spaces, but I'll reduce it to 4 spaces. You'll need to save and exit and then run it again for it to be reflected. The line number is now visible on the left. Let's set the white space to be displayed. Only the blank space after the line will be displayed as a middle dot, and the tab will be set to an easy-to-see symbol. Displaying the white space is a setting that some people like or dislike, but I recommend that developers set it. Let's also display the line where the cursor is. You need to rerun Vim to reflect it, but you can also reflect it immediately with the source command after saving. % means the file you are currently working on. The line where the cursor is located is underlined. The line number is visible, and the line where the cursor is underlined, but it is too noticeable and can steal your gaze and interfere with your concentration. Let's change the color of the line number to gray. The line where the cursor is will have no underline and will be changed to a gray background color. The line number of the line where the cursor is also underlined, but I will replace it with a bold, slightly lighter gray. You can enter command mode by typing : and use the up arrow to recall the previous command. It feels more relaxed. Instead of focusing more on the line with the line number and cursor, you can now focus more on the content. The number shown in the color is 256 ANSI color code. Let's install ANSI to check 256 ANSI color code. Let's download ANSI with curl from the directory where path is set. If curl is not installed, you can install it with apt. Let's give execution permission. Let's run it by adding the color codes option after the ANSI command. You can check the actual color of the ANSI color code applied to the line number and cursor line. Let's take a closer look at how Vim configuration is applied. Instead of a simple text file, let's write it in a shell script file. The space after the line is displayed well as a middle dot. The moment you type a letter after the space, the middle dot disappears because it is not the letter after the line. It is used to check if there are any unnecessary spaces left after the line, but the indicator is a somewhat eye-catching color, so it is an eyesore. The color that indicates the match in parentheses is too strong, so the parentheses symbol is not visible. The tab is also displayed well, but the color is too strong and jarring. You can change the color that indicates white space in the match in parentheses to a more common gray color. Let's check the styles of other parts in Vim a little more and fix them all at once. Let's search for hello. Enter the search word after slash. When it switches to normal mode, the focus moves to the first searched word. If you enter N, the cursor moves to the next searched word. If you enter uppercase N, the cursor moves to the previous word. The focus moves to the searched word, but it does not distinguish the searched word. Let's save and exit. I will reopen the shell script file after setting the Vim configuration more. If you enter a line number in G, the cursor will move to that line. If you enter the line number to move to after the colon, the cursor will move immediately. Personally, I prefer entering a number after the colon. There is no difference in the number of typings between typing a number in G and typing a colon in a number, and when the line number is longer than 2 digits, command mode may be better because you can check the number you are typing. You can also correct it if you make a mistake. I will display highlight in the search results. You can also set the search to ignore uppercase and lowercase letters. Double quotes are used in comments. To go to the top, type G. If you type uppercase G, you will go to the bottom. You can also type the one after colon to go to the top. The last line number is different for each file, so if you type $1 instead of the line number, you will go to the last line. When going to the top and bottom, I recommend typing alphabet G instead of colon, because it allows you to move faster with less typing. The color of the white space indicator can be set with special key. I will set it to 240, which is the same color as the 256 color code applied to the line number. I will set the background color of the match in parentheses to a color that is a little brighter than the background color of the Ubuntu palette. Let's open the hello.shish file again. The color of the white space has become more calm. The background color of the match in parentheses has also become calm. Highlights are also displayed on the searched words, so you can easily find the search location. Highlights can be removed with no H. The color syntax feels a bit strong, so let's change it to calmer by setting the color scheme. Vim has color schemes built in by default. Among the built-in color schemes, I personally prefer the Hobamax color scheme. The Hobamax color scheme is supported from Vim 9. You can also recall commands from previous sessions with the up arrow. When the Hobamax color scheme is applied, the background color changes to dark. Personally, I prefer to use the background color of the terminal provided by Ubuntu, so I will remove the background color. Since the Hobamax color scheme applies color to not only the color syntax but also the highlight, you do not need to set the highlight settings, but other color schemes may not, so I will comment it out. If you input Ctrl+V, you will enter visual block mode, which allows you to edit in block form. After selecting an area in visual block mode, if you input uppercase I, you can input the same letter to all lines set as a block. Only the first line will be input, but if you press ESC, it will be reflected to all lines. After entering command mode with colon, input W and press the up and down arrows to show only the commands starting with W in the command history. Let's check the settings that have been reflected right away. The line number with the cursor is a bit strong in color, so I will remove the comment so that the setting set to gray is reflected. Among the color schemes, there are cases where the background color is displayed for the line number as well as the line with the cursor. I will add a setting to remove the background color. The Hobamax color scheme removes the background color of the match in the parentheses and displays it in bold and red, and I will apply the background color that was blocked by the comment as well. The color scheme provided by default in Vim in Ubuntu can be found in the colors directory under the /usr/share/vim directory. Vim 9 has 7 more color schemes than Vim 8, and Hobamax is also a color scheme added from Vim 9. If you are using Vim 8, I personally recommend the Slate color scheme. The color schemes in Vim 8 are generally a bit colorful, but the Slate color scheme will be more calm than the default color syntax. Vim's configuration is applied per account. It is not applied when using the sudo command with root privileges. You also need to create a .vim-rc file in the root account's home directory. I will copy the .vim-rc file created in the login account's home directory. I will run Vim again with the sudo command. Now, Vim configuration is applied well in sudo. Here's a brief explanation of Vim's general functions and settings. If you want to learn more about how to use it, run Vim tutor and follow along, and you can learn it in 20 to 30 minutes. The first practical command in Vim tutor is J. J moves the cursor down. In the early days, there were no arrow keys on the keyboard, so H, J, K, L were used as arrow keys, but now they can be used as arrow keys. However, since the arrow keys are located at the bottom right of the keyboard, the range of movement of the fingers is too large, so many Vim enthusiasts still prefer to use H, J, K, L as arrow keys. Vim tutor is a copy of the tutorial document opened in Vim, so you can exit it by pressing :Q. This is a table that organizes Vim's cheat keys. This is a table provided by vim-tiny.com. After learning all the commands, you do not need to use Vim. It is recommended that you learn only the basic commands in usage, and use them as you refer to them according to your personal usage pattern. Since Vim GTK3, which provides integration with the GUI, is installed, you can use the system clipboard of the GUI, but since the default clipboard is Xclip, you need to use an additional option to use the system clipboard of the GUI. Next time I will cover in detail how to use the system clipboard in Vim. Thank you for watching.